you see the mention of Vieilles Vignes or Old Vine or Vecchie Viti on the label of a wine bottle, what does it bring to mind? Do you imagine an old vine, or do you imagine a better wine? Has it attracted you because you imagine that it's going to be a better wine? For me, I start imagining a bunch of marketers trying to find tactics to push people to buy a wine, and they know that the mention of old vine or vieilles vignes is going to help sell because people imagine a better wine. See, the problem is that old vine or vieilles vignes or vecchie viti is not a regulated term. It can be used in any which way you choose. You can add it onto pretty much any wine label. But what exactly do old vines bring to a wine? How are they going to make the wine different to a young vine? A vine, the plant, is very much like a human being. So once it's planted, it comes out, it's born, then goes through childhood, teenage, and then older until it dies. In its first 5 years, that vine is not going to produce grapes that are going to be interesting to make wine. So it's after about 5 years that a vine is going to produce grapes that you can make wine with. Then it has quite a few years where, a bit like a human in teenage, it goes wild, it grows all over the place, it's going to produce lots and lots of grapes, not very concentrated, not very complex, just a bit wild. After about 15 to 20 years, depending on a few factors, the vine is going to start to settle down, and it's going to start producing less grapes that are more concentrated and more interesting. This is because the roots of the vine have gone much, much deeper into the soil. This means that they can get water even in very warm and hot conditions, dry conditions. The vine becomes more solid. It's going to get a whole bunch of micronutrients from deep underground, from deep in the soil and subsoil, and it's going to bring complexity in the grape, into the juice that those vines are going to produce. It's going to give the grapes capacity for more acidity and more sweetness, which means that we're going to have a more interesting wine, and a wine that has aging potential, because for wine to age, we're going to need that acidity. So that comes with age for a vine. So that is why a wine made from older vines is going to be more interesting. It's going to have a lot more complexity, a lot more subtleties coming from the vine. Sadly though, it reduces the quantity of grapes that it produces. And that means that, you know, for certain more commercial wines, as soon as they're old, they're kind of ripped out because they don't produce the quantities necessary for those more industrial vineyards. So how old is old when it comes to a vine? Well, that depends on a few factors. One of them is the grape variety. Certain grape varieties can grow very old while others can't. So Gamay, for example, after about 50 years is going to be rather tired, rather towards the end of its life. Whereas grape varieties such as Grenache, Aglianico, or Zinfandel are starting to really become interesting at that age and grow, you know, and age past the 100-year mark quite regularly. So grape variety is going to impact the aging potential of that vine. Another factor is going to be the climate. So is the climate in which the vines grow a warm climate or a cool climate? And that is going to impact the vine's aging potential. And finally, we have the way it's being treated. So have chemicals being used in the vineyard? Has the vine, when it was in those crazy years, being pushed to produce a lot? Those are going to have impact on how old the vine can produce grapes for. So to come back to the old vine, to the Vieilles Vignes or Vecchie Vite on the label, what's important is that the vines that are used to produce those wines are old. How old is old? That depends. It's going to depend on the grape variety, like I said. But how do you find out? Ask the grower. Ask the grower how old are the vines that are used to make this wine. Anything less than 25 years, and for me, honestly, it's a bit of a scam. A vine should not be called old vine or vieille vigne if it's any less than 25 years. It's really taking advantage, really being nearly deceitful in the way that you present your wines, and there should be no mention of vieille vigne or old vine on the label. Anything more than that, and we're starting to have some really interesting wines. There isn't a real number because it's going to change from grape variety to grape variety, but don't hesitate to ask the wine grower. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments section, or email us or contact us via the social media channels. Make sure you subscribe to get all our latest videos. I look forward to seeing you in another video. Until then, santé!